You asked for it. Here it is. It's a podcast from Apathetic Enthusiasm.
Hello, everybody. This week we're talking about Onward and Medical Police and whatever else we can think of in this episode of Apathetic Enthusiasm.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Apathetic Enthusiasm. That's right, it's the A to your enthusiasm here on whatever podcast app you're listening to us on, or if you're live on twitch.tv/apathetic enthusiasm or youtube.com/apathetic enthusiasm show. Ah, yes, and no one on Facebook.
No show. Just Apathetic Enthusiasm.
Oh, just okay. All right, good call.
We finally got that custom URL, and it was sweet candy. Hi, everybody. I'm Travis. I don't think we introduced ourselves.
No, we didn't. I'm Brandon.
Listen, if you're watching or listening, you know who we are. Like, we're not. I mean, is this your first time? If it's your first time, you better let us know. You better hit us up on the social media stratosphere that is Twitter @Apathusiast. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Apathetic Enthusiasm Show, or send us an email. Let us know it's your very first time listening or watching over at apatheticenthusiasmshow@gmail.com. You can also follow Instagrams apathetic_enthusiasm and find this podcast as well as all of our other podcasts and some really old videos about, I don't know, Walking Dead or something, over on apatheticenthusiasm.com. Everything's there. It's all there.
It's all there. Everything that you've ever wanted from any podcast, entertainment podcast, or a half-assed tech podcast ever. It's right here in our backlog.
Yeah. What? Oh, let me say this before we move on to the actual show. Financial support provided from viewers like you over at patreon.com/rickandmortypod, or you can go to apatheticenthusiasm.com/shop to visit our TeePublic, where we have shirts with our faces on them, as well as curated Rick and Morty shirts. And I don't know, we should find some other shirts that we just like on there, because I'm sure there's a few.
Yeah, I'm sure there are a few. I'm sure there's a lot of good shirts out there. One of the shirts that we need to put out there is some kind of apathetic enthusiasm logo. And I know you're t-shirt pressing for a time there. And I don't know if we've talked about your tee press. you're trying to cut into the t-shirt pressing market.
So, I mean, I don't know if I'm trying to do a market. Okay.
Example Studios. It's Travis Monkey Studios.
I have made some t-shirts. I'm still capable of making t-shirts, but I'm not selling any t-shirts. And I definitely need a better press because yeah, the one that I have was like a hand-me-down, and it doesn't get hot enough, and then it keeps turning off as it's trying to get up to the right temperature. So I need to just invest some hard-earned podcast money, whatever that is, on a better t-shirt press, and then I could be in business. I could be making shirts. I can make handbags. I can make.
Ooh.
I can make
like Coach handbags,
like fanny packs.
Let me tell you,
anything you want a logo on, I could probably make it happen.
Let me tell you, I got this when I went to Microsoft Ignite last year. I showed up on day 3, so they didn't have any actual backpacks, which would have been bitching. Instead, by the time I got there, they were giving out kind of shoulder kind of bags.
Okay.
You put it over your shoulder, and it's kind of you could have it as a fanny pack, but why would you do that? You put it over your shoulder. It's got a bag, pocket in the front. It's got a pocket in the back, and I've been using that all over the place. It's like the right size, and yeah, I feel
you've been carrying a purse, Brandon.
Yeah, I've been carrying a purse, but it says Microsoft on it, and I usually wear my Microsoft Teams socks that I got from Ignite as well. The NetApp socks. I got some NetApp socks, some Riverbed socks, some Cisco. Somebody went to a Cisco Live convention. They got me some Cisco socks. Yeah, it's just great. It's just Let me digress here for a little bit. If I go to any conventions, that is my swag of choice. And for a long time, I was a strictly White Sox person, right? Just like, you know what? No, I'm just White Sox. That's it. Ugh,
That's
Black Sox. No,
it.
it doesn't match my leg plexion. It just doesn't match. And I give you credit for being bold and wearing non-traditional socks. I'm like, okay, if Travis can pull it off and people think he's attractive still,
you know,
then certainly I
let's
can.
let's not push the issue too far here.
I, actually,
Yeah,
actually,
I would have loved this to have been an opportunity where I could like pull my leg up on camera and show you the really cool, fun socks that I'm wearing. I'm literally just wearing plain black socks right now. Nothing fun. But yeah, I enjoy a fun pair of socks, and very very recently, I've started switching to some black athletic socks for
ooh,
when I'm out and about running about town, which is a forced segue into a topic that we did not plan to talk about, but running continues to be
oh yeah,
something that we're both doing more and more of, and
yeah, sure.
I ran my first 10K in probably
10 years.
like 8 years, I think. Yeah, 2 days ago, and I feel okay.
Uh,
I'm
You,
I'm
you
I'm living. I'm still able to walk. So yeah, things are good.
you sent me a picture of your time, and I'm like 550 a mile. Jesus,
Yeah,
Jesus.
so here's the backstory on that, right? I have been using the Nike Run Club running app for probably a decade, over a decade. I've been using it a very long time, and the app has changed a lot over time. But I just it's sort of the app that I'm comfortable with, the one I use. And normally I have the imperial scale for our American
Oh,
friends, but I was running a 10K, so I was like, I'm gonna switch to metric so that I can get exactly 10K for my planned run.
yeah, sure.
What I didn't think about was as soon as I hit start, it was giving me my pace based on kilometers. So it was giving me my time per kilometer.
Oh,
And immediately I was thrown off. I was like, oh gosh, I don't know how fast I'm running. Am I going too fast? Am I going too slow? Thankfully, a friend of mine who was running the race with me uh, was keeping track on like his watch. And so for
mm,
the first couple miles, he's like, yeah, we're going too fast. We're faster than we planned. And I'm like, I'm already committed. And so that I just kept running. But it kind of gave me a nice little gauge because it would count up the kilometers until
uh,
halfway and then count down. So I had
oh,
like 10 little easy to digest chunks instead of like trying to break up 6 miles in my head mentally and stuff. But the
yeah.
nice thing is once I switched the app back to Imperial scale, it converted all the times within the app, so then I could see what my mile splits were and things like that.
Oh, okay.
So I still ran. I think overall, the average time. Let's pull it up. Let's pull it up in the little
Pull it
pull it
up.
up in the little app here.
Let's
Check my histories.
continue to show off how fast you run.
I'm not trying to show off. Uh, I I ran a 9:09 per mile pace.
909.
9:09, and my
Oh,
finish
no,
time was
you only
56,
ran a
56.
9 minute mile pace.
9 minute per mile pace. Yeah.
Oh shoot! Yeah, I know it said 5 and whatever, but I thought, yeah, I thought you ran that pretty fast. And I was like, oh well, shit. Like if he just applies himself for 10 kilometers at a time,
Yeah.
he's he's wow,
Yeah,
wow.
no, I did not run that fast. Normally, although today I did a little speed workout and got to about 8.5 minutes per mile. So
That's good.
I've already signed up for another 10K in the middle of June.
Okay.
So I'm not stopping. I'm gonna keep going. When are you gonna sign up for a race, buddy?
I was gonna sign up for a like a relay thing, and that didn't happen. I think, I think it just depends. It depends on somebody. just coming up to me and being like, "Hey, Brandon, you want to run this?" And I'll say, "Okay," because I don't say no to things. With that in
So
mind, if
you heard
I'm
it here. If you listen to this podcast and you know Brandon and or you work with him, uh, ask him to sign up for a race. You don't even have to be signed up for it. Just ask him to do it.
no, well, like if Omar's watching, like you can't just come up to me and be like, "Hey, you said last night all I had to do is ask you," because that's not Omar.
That's
You
not how
can't.
any of this works.
Um,
But I will say signing up for a race definitely motivates me to run more, and makes me want to, you know, be more active and ready for it, which is what I did. I mean, I I probably would have been a lot slower and in a lot more pain if I hadn't trained the way that I did.
sure.
So yeah, no, it felt good, and I've got like another 5 people already signed up for the next one with me. So I can't let them beat me. I gotta keep running.
Gotta keep running. Yeah, got. I started because I thought I was going to do this 100-mile relay thing, and then uh, I I just realized, oh, you know what? I don't saying you enjoy running is kind of weird. Like I don't know if I enjoy running, but I do it one because hey, I'm drinking beer. Two, I don't know. I'm like I just like to be able to say that okay, I worked out in some way, shape, or form.
Sure. Yeah.
Even if it's like once a week or if it's like one speed run or or an attempt at 4 to 5 miles on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Um, speaking of that, I ran. I didn't run a lot on Sunday. I only ran a mile and a half, and it was really windy. I started off like a really good pace, like an 8:30 pace, or no, even faster. I was like going like 7:40 or something like that.
Ugh. And then you died.
And then I went around the corner, and then just wind, and
Oh
it
yeah.
really beat the shit out of me. And then I immediately slowed down to like an 8:40 to 9, and then everybody's mowing their lawns too. It just but so by the time I was done, I was just like just hay fever and just like allergies all day. And then I had to go to the store where there's a lot of people because it's the public. And I'm like, oh no, it looks like I've got a cold. I'm just like just
Oh,
dripping.
I've got all the symptoms of a deadly disease that is sweeping the world.
And I'm just like, no, it's just allergies. Trust me. It's just allergies. I'm like,
And then you're just like shaking everybody's hand in the store and kissing
like
babies and
"Eh, and it's fine. It's fine. Hand sanitizer.
ugh. Yeah, good old beer flu. Sweeping the nation, that coronavirus. So
That's right. That's right.
but we
I do
won't
want
talk about that. We're
no.
safe. We're safely hidden in our fortresses of solitude.
Oh, I wanna say one more thing about the topics we just covered. Um, uh, on the socks thing. I know we talked about this a long time
Back
ago,
to
but
socks. Back to the important things.
just wanted to say this one last story about socks, it's this. Not only you because you wear cool socks, but also I went to work one day and I was just wearing. I wasn't wearing what I usually wear to work. I wasn't wearing nice clothes, whatever. I was just wearing Brandon clothes, and I had pants and I had nice shoes, and I was wearing white socks. And this guy was like, "Oh, Brandon, yeah, you can't. You got to grow up, man. You can't just wear white socks with everything." And that was the other part that stuck with me was you can't wear white socks with everything, man. It's not it's not a good look. And
Gotta up that sock game.
you know how vain I am. I do think the song is about me.
Don't you? Don't you? Well, I think with a little bit of work and determination, and maybe a holiday mystery pack of cartoon character socks, you too could be the adventurous person that wears fun socks to a variety of occasions.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. And speaking of character socks, are you gonna get do you think you're gonna get socks with the characters from the new hit movie Onward?
Wow, Brandon, that is such a transition. No, I do not think I will be getting Onward socks, but I will be going to the theater yesterday and mixing up my tenses, and seeing the new Pixar film Onward that just released in theaters this last weekend. Not really much prior coordination, but I think we both ended up seeing this movie opening weekend. We did not necessarily plan on that, but nobody's going out in public anymore, so theaters are half full. Why not go check it out?
Why not? Why not check it out? Yeah, I you told me on like Thursday, hey, I have tickets to see Onward on Sunday, and I was like, oh, that movie is out now. Okay,
Okay.
cool.
I guess I could see it.
And I ended up getting called into work on Friday night, and then because that happened. Oh, I have another topic to talk about. I'll
Yeah,
get
I'm
back.
adding it right now.
Yeah, um, I missed spending time with Chelsea and the kid, and so Saturday morning rolled around. I'm like, oh, you know what? I should spend time with them. Um, and then Chelsea's sick right now. She probably has a coronavirus,
Mm.
but
It's not
uh,
quarantine.
um, but I was like, oh, you want to see a movie today? You want to go see Sonic the Hedgehog? I'm like, oh wait, Onward's out. Travis is going to see it. This would be a good chance to go see it, and then we have something actually similar to talk about for the podcast for a change, where we're not like
And
like
what
dueling topics.
and what you just described is the level of coordination that goes into our podcast production. Yeah. Oh, you're gonna see that? Yeah, I guess I'll see it, and then we could talk about it.
Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. No, that's. I guess I'll change my plans to make sure we actually do talk about the same thing. And so instead of seeing Sonic the Hedgehog, I went with the kid to go see Onward on Saturday. Just
Mhm.
trying to make sure I one up you. Like, oh, it's on Sunday? Nope, Saturday it is.
If I didn't have 1,000 things going on Saturday to include the previously mentioned 10K, then yeah, I probably would have gone on Saturday. But yeah, I went and saw it Sunday. What were your thoughts about the film prior to going in? Like what sort of exposure did you have to advertising? What expectations did you have going in? Or did you kind of just go in cold?
Okay, all right. Well, for those who are watching right now or listening, uh, Onward. If you don't know what Pixar's Onward is about, it's about two brothers. Uh,
Two brothers.
it's two brothers, and there's magic, or it's not. There's not magic, and that's one of the key things. And it's like a fantasy world, like D&D, and but all like the historical kind of like barbarians and swords and sorcery have all gone away because electricity is easier than magic. Basically, the modern living is easier than having magic around. Um, and so that's kind of the foundation of the story, the backdrop. And these two brothers, they've lost their dad at a young age, and they find that magic is still around, and they kind of bring him back, but not all the way. And it's their quest to bring him back all the way. Okay, there we go. Quick synopsis.
There it is. This has
My
been Brandon Explains Movie Premises on Apathetic Enthusiasm.
uh, so fairly low exposure going into seeing the movie. I saw the trailers same time as everyone else did, really, and I was like, okay, all right, that seems seems like an okay premise. And when I bought right as I was buying tickets for it, I watched a trailer, and I wasn't super impressed by the trailer. Like, this seems doesn't seem that fun. It seems kind of boring actually. But you know what? Gotta talk about it. Gotta coordinate. Um, and so yeah, I went in fairly cold turkey, and that was my initial thought going into it. How about you?
I didn't get the expectation that it was going to be like a straight on comedy. I mean, it is a fun like Pixar movie for kids and families, so I did expect that. I was hoping with our interest in D&D over the last year and a half that there'd be some cool like shout outs to that or whatever. But in general, I liked that mashup premise of a fantasy world that has progressed technologically toward like modern society, and how they could play off of those elements where they're going on this epic quest to seek a magic gem in their, rusted out, van, that where they stop at convenience stores on the way and things like that. So, yeah, in general, I thought it was a cool idea, and I like to see Pixar movies in general anyway. So I was like, yeah, let's go see it. My son was really excited about seeing it after seeing the trailers. So we just got the whole crew together and went to go see what it was all about.
Buckled down and went and spent your hard-earned cash
Yeah, I
on
also
all.
had a gift card. So
Oh, oh my God, we're like the same damn person these last couple of days. I didn't have a gift card, but when I went to go see Star Wars, Rise of Skywalker, I went and saw it in LA with Sizemore and the family, and I bought an extra ticket for Matt's brother, and then Matt's brother had to cancel, and so I got that money back to my Fandango account. Where, well, movie tickets in LA are like $20 a pop. So basically, I got got to see Onward for free. Not
yeah,
really free.
yeah,
I still paid money, but it was in there.
it's good.
Okay, what did you think of the movie overall? Like, what are the things that jumped out to you?
So our first conversation after the movie was over is I said I kind of dug it, and you said something to the effect of like it was okay, and then
Yeah,
my response was,
okay, capitalized. Oh,
all caps, okay,
it
and
was.
then
That's okay.
I responded with, as a guy who has repressed emotions about his dead father, it hit a little different for me.
Yeah,
I'm sure we've discussed this on countless episodes of Apathetic Enthusiasm. I'm a huge softie, a major sap. I cry at movies and sometimes YouTube advertisements. So, like, for me, I don't know that there's a Toy Story movie that's come out that I didn't get emotional in. And they definitely played some of the right things in this movie to trigger some emotional responses for me. And yeah, so I got a little weepy at times. I'm not like ugly crying or anything, but just like, oh, look at the love that they have for each other and their families, yay! And that is
was
how.
it was it a cry where you're like, I hope none of my family looks over at me?
No,
So,
because odds are, because what happens is I look over at Sheena and she's
uh-huh.
crying too, and we're both just like, yeah, I know, right? I know. So
I-
yeah,
there are certain things where like Lego Masters, the father and son team on Lego Masters,
yeah.
that old man, he just knows how to pull a tear out of me, and and every time that happens, Chelsea looks over at me and just like, oh, make me sad.
Oh, you
I'm like,
do have a soul. Look at him. Look at him.
get back in there.
But yeah, so yeah, definitely it played with some of that, and I thought it was good the way that it played out. For the most part, it told a nice family story there. But on top of all of that, you had this D&D-esque fantasy world. I thought that some of the characters or monsters that they chose to incorporate into the movie were really interesting and cool choices. I don't think that my son would know what a manticore is prior to this film. He certainly is not familiar with the concept of a gelatinous cube.
No.
And now that is something that we can discuss. So yeah, I think there were some cool elements that they did, and the the subtle subplot about magic being important in this world and how it sort of faded away with the onset of technology and everything. And then throughout the course of the film, magic slowly being kind of introduced back and sort of reminding people about magic and the fact that it was something special through the main character's use of magic, but then like Pixies coming back and learning how to fly again and little things like that. I think that was a neat little other subplot. Like, hey, let's not waste our imaginations. Let's remember things that are magical and fun and a little bit silly sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. I like the idea of that. I something that I mentioned in the chat after we saw the movie that I didn't really elaborate on was I said that it's like it was like a D&D homebrew campaign, the movie. Like
Yeah, yeah,
it felt like so and it felt like somebody like had a homebrew campaign and like, you know what? I'm Dan Scanlon, and I directed and helped co-write this movie, and let's put my homebrew into this. Um, and and the thing I said about that was, along with that aspect of it, came the holes in the like kind of some of the gaps in logic that you have to just be like, let's just ignore that piece. Um, for example, this whole thing with magic, the way it was, like, described for most of the movie wasn't that, like, magic's gone. It was
yeah.
that well, no, it was that magic was gone, like, there it was just it wasn't there, like, there was no magic anywhere anymore, and what I didn't see was people's reaction to, "Oh, magic is back. Whoa." It was just kinda like a ho-hum, "Huh, look at that. A disguise spell. Huh." Like that type of stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, they could have been more exposition-y with that and been like, "Wow, that was actually magic." Or I think there's
Like,
yeah,
I didn't feel people's excitement from magic
yeah,
being introduced in the world again. It was just kinda like, "Oh, yay, there it is. Duh, yeah.
yeah,
Oh, of course,
yeah.
it's right there."
Which again, I wonder if that was like, was everybody still aware that you could use magic? It's just that other stuff was easier, kind of like his mom's boyfriend who was a centaur who could have run 80 miles an hour, but it's easier to drive a car. So he chooses to go the easy route instead of
Right.
doing something that maybe is a little bit more difficult, but could be more worthwhile.
Well, like, along the lines of, the older brother, I don't even know what the character's name is, but he's played by Chris Pratt. He has all these D&D cards, and he's playing essentially what this world's version of D&D is. But his whole thing is, no, this is all real. This is all based off historical fact. This is like a history book, and everybody treats him like he's an idiot, like he's stupid and he's not growing up. Not that like, yeah, like yeah, that stuff was real. It was magic was real and all these things existed. Come on, grow up. This this is real life.
Well, but let's take a minute and think about like the Civil War reenactors, or the people that do like medieval Renaissance fairs in present day, who sometimes get a little bit of a side eye from folks, and they're like, all right, yeah, we know it's real, but like, can you tone it down a little bit? We get it, knights existed, but
That's
like,
fair. That's
you
fair.
could you
I'll give
do
you that.
something else on the weekends? Huh? Could you? So yeah, I think in that same sort of spirit that the people were like, you're a little too obsessed with this historically accurate role playing card game.
Yeah. I will give you points for that explanation, and I'll retract my argument. Um,
Yes, got him to
but
shut up, guys. That's how you make a podcast.
Now, I do have. If anybody wants to see the movie, I do. I don't think this is a spoiler necessarily. Oh, okay. I'll try. I will try my best not to have this be a spoiler. Okay. Uh,
Loose spoiler warning tags for any that are concerned.
okay.
We will try to talk around them.
These two brothers are on a quest to make sure that they can see their father in fully formed. The father is only half, and you see that in the trailers. No spoiler there. Um, and it takes them on this quest, this epic quest to a giant mountain. But they avoid the mountain and they go to a different like they're puzzle finding. They're solving a puzzle. They go through a dungeon. The dungeon's like ancient, um, and then the dungeon leads them somewhere where logically I'm like, what? How like there's a whole bit of infrastructure that leads to their final destination through this thing that just does not make sense for them to end up where they are
Sure.
in such a um uh like I can't even think of it like uh, not defenseless but weak way. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm trying to get that without?
Yeah, and I will agree with you that the end of their journey when they felt like they had reached their destination and were about to um you know reach the end of their quest, it does throw you off a little bit, and I mean part of that's intentional, but I don't feel like it lands the way that they wanted it to, and I don't know, it did feel a little cheap, but at the same time, like logistically, I'm okay with it because of how long they were traveling
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
on their floating Cheeto. So
That's
yeah.
not a spoiler there.
uh, but yeah, I would agree with you that when it's first brought up, I'm like, oh, this is kind of lame. But at the same time, you could try to explain it, but I that part wasn't my definitely wasn't my favorite.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And the last, I feel this is how I know that I gave it an okay score is that I just immediately go to the things that didn't really agree with me. It, you and I kind of disagree with the MacGuffin and how effective the MacGuffin was in the movie, which is the wand, the wand or the dad's legs, whichever one we want to call it, because I feel that uh, they wanted to give you a twist in the movie, and I think that their intent to give you a twist kind of eh, the advertisements don't give you a good enough. Like if I went into this movie with a different mindset, then I would have appreciated it more because I would have been in a mindset like, oh, it's a it's a it's a brother's Frozen. um,
Okay. Have you seen Frozen 2 yet?
no, why would I see Frozen 2?
I don't
I
know.
haven't seen Sonic the Hedgehog.
Neither have I, but I see Frozen 2 almost every day. So
Really? Is it on
yeah,
video?
I have I have a like a 7-year-old girl. Yeah,
Oh,
I see Frozen all the time.
God, I hate that
I
song.
guess I guess she's 8 now. Hmm.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Hope she doesn't listen to this podcast. She
Daddy,
doesn't. She
do
doesn't.
you love me?
She doesn't. Uh, ah, that's your favorite song, right?
That's my punishment.
Yeah, what were we talking about? Onward. Yeah, so I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking around, and I feel like there's a difference between you and I and how we watch movies, and I feel like I suspend disbelief in terms of like some of the emotional interactions, and I'm much more like willing to like let that stuff go and just ride with the story, and often it's the discussions with you after the movie when I'm like, oh yeah, that was a problem, or yeah, that doesn't really work out, because I'm just kind of like, all right, let me feel the feels and see the sees, and we'll sort it out in the end. And you're like, do you feel like in the third, what was you, what was your favorite bit? Just what was this is a legit thing that he asked me after. What was the bit that you felt landed the best or whatever? And I'm just like, I don't
What was your,
know.
what
I'm
was your
pretty
favorite
sure I
gag?
laughed several times. And then you brought up a couple, and I was like, "Oh yeah, those were funny. I definitely laughed during those."
Those were funny. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. We have people in the chat over on Twitch and YouTube who are asking us to if we rate movies. We've definitely rated movies in the past. We used to do this all the time on a 1 to 10 scale, but we have a lot of people recommending that we rate it on a scale of brapples. So
Or like it, skip it, rent it, or buy it. It's like a fuck Mary kill type thing.
so how many brapples would you give this movie?
Oh, of how many brapples am I giving it?
I
Like
give this movie 6.5 brapples.
I give it you give it six. I don't know what the scale. How many brapples?
That's the joke, Brandon, is we don't know the
Oh,
scale.
oh, okay. Then I give it a piece of bobbish, and, and 2 3/4 brapples.
All right, but in all seriousness, would you suggest that people skip it, rent it, buy it? What?
I think it's
Let's say skip it,
mhm.
theaters, rent it, buy it. I don't know.
Skip it, theaters, rent it, buy it.
Yeah.
I think that's a Daft Punk song. Skip it, theaters, rent it, buy it. um,
Skip
I
it, theater, rent it, buy it.
a rent it, buy it, a theater,
Yeah,
rent it.
where's my pocket operator when I need it?
Uh, I give it a rent it or
Yeah.
wait for it to come out on home or on home streaming services.
Yeah, I will say that my son walked out of the theater absolutely loved the film.
Mm,
If you have kids that are at all interested in like fantasy, uh, sort of stories, or if you're trying to covertly get your kid interested in role playing games, Dungeons and Dragons, maybe take him to go see it. If I would probably I would definitely rent it if
yeah.
but for my family we will probably buy it.
Hmm. Uh, my kid liked it as well, and you know what's interesting, and I didn't think about this on the way to the movie theater. Chelsea didn't go with us; it's just him and I,
Because
and he was
coronavirus.
oh yeah, sure. He was as we're driving to the theater, he was reading my Zolo's Guide to Monsters or what I forget whatever it was.
Xanathar's Guide to
No,
oh
Santa
oh
Claus Guide to Everything. But what it was,
yeah,
was
Zolo's Guide, yeah.
and he was talking about trying to get monsters for our campaign because he really wants to be like get this monster and then make these monsters the minion. And so we were talking about like if you get the frog Hemoth, then you could have these fire newts as his. And then do you have different rooms? How
Okay,
many?
real talk. I want to play a one shot where your son is the DM, or at least co-writes the one shot and has you
Okay,
run it. That
all
would
right.
be amazing. Amazing.
I I'll work on it. I'll work on it. Anyway, I think the movie overall is good. I do think it's either a rent or a wait for it to come to home streaming. But I don't think it hits it as hard as some of Pixar's previous offerings. Uh,
I Toy
better-
Story Toy Story 3 hit way harder than Onward, I feel like. But
yeah, yeah.
um
Because
but
my
it's
child
it's a
died.
fun coming of age tale where a young elf uh learns about himself and learns what it means to have a father in your life. Uh yeah.
Yeah,
Voiced by Tom Holland and Chris Pratt, the two main characters, Ian and Barley. And then their mom, Laurel Lightfoot, played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
that's right. That's right. She hasn't been in a movie since Oh, she hasn't been in a Pixar movie since Bug's Life. I don't know
Wow.
if you know
Wow.
that. Okay, well, I think we've talked enough about Onward. I think we should move onward and upward from this topic. Hey, hi,
Hey.
hi.
Time
Um,
time to talk about a show that you've watched in its entirety, maybe?
I have, yeah, 10
And
episodes.
I've watched about 20% of.
Okay.
Cuz I watched 2 episodes last night after you told me about it.
Okay, awesome, awesome. So you have a at least a basic foundation of what the show is about in
Yes.
the feel of it.
Yes.
This show is, of course, it's the only show that we've been talking about on Apathetic Enthusiasm. It is a show called Medical Police, which is a spin-off of the hit Adult Swim show Children's Hospital, starring Rob Corddry. It's got a bunch of folks in it, but Medical Police, that this spin-off, it stars Aaron Hayes, who plays Dr. Lola Spratt, and Rob Hubel, who I actually remember what his name is in the show. But essentially, what happens is a deadly virus is released around the world, and these two children's hospital doctors find themselves thrust into solving this conspiracy before it's too late and the virus takes hold worldwide. Um, it it is equal parts serious. Like it's well made, it's well crafted as far as a show is concerned, like budget wise. And yet it still slips in comedy bits here, there, and a little bit of everywhere, which I just absolutely love that they can they can do that. Um, Travis, you watched 2 episodes. What did you think of those 2 episodes that you did see?
I I enjoyed them. I think that it has that particular set of like that tonal quality where it if you were to walk through the room when the show was on, there's a very good chance you might think, "Oh, you're watching a serious like crime drama type show."
Yeah,
But then all of the jokes, or at least most of the jokes, are really subtle or almost like they sneak them in. And so you really kind of have to be paying attention to catch everything. And it sort of makes fun of itself at times.
yeah,
And you have legit situations where something very serious is going on, and then they mash that up with something completely absurd, but everyone is playing it completely straight. So they're not necessarily in on the joke, but it is hilarious for the person that's watching.
yeah. It's I love Wet Hot American Summer and The State and all those kind of those absurdist guys. But they play everything. They always, even if they're doing something completely nuts, their characters aren't like, haha, look at this. This is silly, right? They're all in on doing it. Ken Marino is in this. I mentioned Rob Corddry, David Wayne. Obviously, he's an executive producer. He directed 3 of the 10 episodes.
Okay.
Uh, but yeah, man, like they do really good like non sequitur jokes that make that really that maybe like one or two of the characters will be like, huh? Um, for instance, there's a joke in the one of the later episodes where Malin Ackerman, who is in Children's Hospital, she was in The Watchmen and Wanderlust, whatever. She she stabbed somebody with a spear, like a random spear that nobody saw. Like she stabbed somebody with a spear, and she said, uh, "I'll take a rain check." She said that. She said that to him, and all the doctors around her are like, "Yeah, yeah, it's good. It's a good one." And Ken Marino's like, um, "Huh? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, wait." And then a little bit later in the episode, Rob Hubel takes somebody out, and then he randomly says that same line. Yeah, I'll take a rain check. And, like, just a very random callback to something that was completely random in the first place. It's just
Th-
it tickles my funny bone.
the whole reason Rob Huebel's character Owen is is even in this whole mix up is because he was the only one willing to drive Lola in to go talk to the CDC because she paid him $12. Uh, a surgeon who who makes plenty of money, I'm sure, would refuse to drive her for unless she paid $12. And then like all of a sudden they're in like Brazil or whatever, and they're like, yeah, clearly we work at a hospital that's in Brazil, right? All of our patients are American and all of the doctors are American, but obviously where we work is in Brazil.
The show in the show it progresses. They're like globe trotting. They're trying to stop this global virus. And what's really interesting to me is just the kind of weird poor timing that the show came out with, right? With the whole coronavirus and COVID-19.
Yeah.
Um, because there's I think like episode 4 or 5, it starts off and there's like a commercial going on, and it's like a man and a wife, and they're talking to each other about ways that they can keep the virus from spreading. And it's just very, very like just silly ways to stop the virus from spreading, like take a shower in the morning. It's a bad example. That's not, but just
I don't know, wash your hands, don't touch your face.
it's very, very, very cheesy. And then it pans out, and it's the CDC director, and he's directing this commercial, and I'm like, God, yeah, no, it's oddly prescient that the CDC is incompetent with this commercial, and we're going through what is soon to be a global pandemic.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so
Fun
fun,
fun podcast topics.
fun.
But yeah, if you are into that absurdist kind of humor, if you watch Children's Hospital and you are somehow unaware that this series exists, definitely fire up your Netflix box and check it out. Or like what's what is that show that we always reference?
And Angie Tribeca from the Files of Police Squad.
No, you two were buddies, weren't you?
Darth Marenghi's Dark Place.
Yes,
Buddies.
if you like that kind of humor, I think you'll definitely enjoy Medical Police, streaming now on Netflix. I rate it a stream it because that's how you watch it.
I would rate it a theater.
Oh, good choice.
Just
Go rent it.
buy,
Go to a Redbox and rent it.
I say get your streaming device, buy a ticket for Onward, and then watch Medical Police.
Yeah, watch on your phone inside the theater because people love that.
They do.
Speaking of people and being around people and being on podcasts, we have one bonus topic to talk about today, and that is a little thing called Podfest. Brandon was there, our man on the street. Tell us all about all of the exciting things that you saw and heard at Podfest 2020.
Well, Frarns, I went to a little thing in Orlando called Podfest this weekend. I had I only went Friday. I had free tickets that I got to go to this event. And I for those who are listening, here's the thing about me. I can get here in front of the microphone, and I can be enthusiastic, apathetically so, and I can be excited, and I can make jokes and stuff like that. And it's great because I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you, Travis. And we're having this back and forth, and folks are listening, and I love all the folks out there. Um, and even like in a group of friends, I'm good to joke and be have an energy about me. When I go someplace where I don't have anybody to play off of, and it's just me, then I have incredible anxiety. and I can go to one of these events and as far back as the Amazing Hawaii Comic or Honolulu Comic Con. The first time we went to one of those, and you were working, and I went by myself, and I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna get some man on the street interviews, and I had the camera, and I walked around, and I was like, I can't do this. Well, Podfest, I went to this Podfest Friday, and I went intending to talk to people to network and be like, "Hey, I'm Brandon Cruz. You know, here's I've been podcasting for a long time, and I have some questions about either like what do you do to get guests or to monetize or stuff like that." And what ended up happening was I went and I sat in the back as far back as I could in any of the panel rooms. I listened to people talk. I'm like, "Okay, this is good, this is good." And then I'd get up with the intent of, like, asking somebody a question after, but I'm like, "Oh, they're talking to somebody else." What I'll do is I'll leave the room and I'll, like, walk down the hallway, and then I'll be like, "Well, okay, cool, now that give them enough time to have talked to that person." And I come back and they're still talking to that person or talking to somebody else. I'm like, "Okay, well, now they're talking to somebody else. I'm just gonna walk and I'm gonna, like pretend to anybody who's watching that I'm actually, I have a purpose. I have a purpose for something else. Uh, but now I know that these people saw me walk back and forth. So now I'm going to walk into a different room and I'm going to sit there and listen to something that I'm not really interested in for a while. Okay, 5 minutes. Okay, now there must be something that those people must be gone. I go back in the other room. No, they're either gone or whatever. And okay, like this
You
is
you get real into your head about this stuff.
I'm sweating. I'm sweating thinking about it. It's rough, yeah. And my problem is I don't actually know what my problem is, but I will say that like if somebody is talking to other folks and I don't know them, then I'm bad at cold opens and cold introductions with people. Um, and then if they're talking to other people, I mean, I know how I am when somebody's talking to me and I see somebody kind of hovering off to the side, knowing like they're looking at me and I know they want to talk to me. And and I feel that pressure to end this conversation with this one person that I'm interacting with to talk to this other person. And so if I'm that person hovering, then I project that emotion onto them. And I'm
Mm,
like, well, I don't want to make them stop this conversation faster than it needs to happen because that person waited to ask a question or
yeah,
talk.
yeah.
I don't want to take that
It's
away
because
from
you care about the people. You care about everybody else. You care about whether or not they saw you walking down the hall. You
them.
you
I do,
you
I do.
care. You care.
I don't like eating by myself either. It's just a weird thing. At the very end of the day, I did get a lot of good information from it. But I went to my car at the end of the day, in a parking garage, and it was like about 4:15, and there was a meetup at 7:30. 3 hours and some change later. It was for a tabletop role playing group meetup. They're live play podcasters, and I wanted to meet them just to like it was a set time, it was a set place. I knew the people that were going to be there. It was going to be I was going to be okay with it because I'm like okay, nobody knows anybody there, uh, but we are all meeting with the intent like there's a purpose there. But it was 3.5 hours away,
Yeah.
and I sat in my car and I sent you a shit
And you
ton of text.
cried. No.
I wanted to like I couldn't.
Yeah.
I was like, do I leave? Do I stay? Do I leave? Do I stay? Do I leave? And do I stay? But that process lasted like an hour and a half, where I couldn't get out of my car and I couldn't make a decision to stay or go. And eventually, I was like, you know what? I'll just send them all a message and say, "Oh, I had to go. Let's stay together." That's and then I just left. Um, so yeah, I think I need therapy for that. I don't know why. I don't know why.
we we had friend of the show Sire Dark ask, do you feel like it's more an anxiety thing or an imposter syndrome type of thing? Because we've talked about imposter syndrome quite a bit in the past, especially in these situations as we first started to attend, you know, comic conventions and different things with our podcast. We we kind of like we don't really belong here. We're not we're not professionals or we don't know what we're doing, and then as we continue to do it, we kind of realize there's a lot of people that don't know what they're doing, and everybody kind of feels that way. But do you feel it's more one or the other, or a mix of both?
I do feel a certain sense of imposters. Everybody does.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure, unless they are just God's gift to humanity.
complete narcissists.
Um, but for this, because it doesn't have to be about podcasting. It could be
Yeah,
about, it could be just about trying to uh, talk to a woman about a panel that we're supposed to do the following morning, and waiting for her to stop talking to a group of Power Rangers, where I'm just like, I'm, you know, I'm, I'm here. I'm here for a reason. Why are you kind of shunning me out of this? Because you know that you and I are going to be talking tomorrow morning at the same time. Um,
yeah.
and and this was our time to actually talk about what we're going to talk about. Um, that's probably a little more angry. Angry. Uh,
Hmm.
Maybe not the exact situation, but like just that feeling of like being a, I don't know. It's not imposter syndrome to answer that question. It's
Yeah,
not that in this case,
yeah.
because no matter what, I just, when people don't know me and I'm trying and I want to talk to them, I get too in my head,
Yeah.
and I I don't plan it out far enough in advance.
And how does that make you feel? No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. We're gonna turn this into a therapy session. But I will say, being your partner in crime on the podcast stage for as long as we've been doing this, I can definitely pick up like different cues from you where you're definitely thinking through those things, or and because it happens not just face to face, but it doesn't happen as much like in online interactions, but there are times, especially early on when we started doing the podcasting thing, where we would like go back and forth about an email or like a DM, be like, should we say this? Should we not? Like, and I think for me, I have changed a lot in how I feel in those situations because of what we've done. And I think you will continue to grow, and I think you've probably grown a lot and just putting yourself out there in a lot of things. But yeah, I think it there you definitely have some other barriers to work through that I think there have been times where I've just done something really almost out of character for myself typically, but I'm like, yeah, let's just do it, let's just go for it. And usually it's because I have we feed off of each other a little bit, and we're a
Yeah.
little bit more willing to put ourselves out there when we know that we've got each other's back. But which is
Yeah.
why you should support us over at patreon.com/Rick and Morty Pod, so that we can go to conventions together, even though we live far, far away from each other.
Yeah. I will say, thank you for those words, Travis, by the way. Um, I will say that there's sometimes that are strange to me. For example, I went to go talk to this. I wandered back and forth like I described before, and then I was like, oh, you know what? I want to ask this guy because you and I are planning a fundraising event later this year,
No spoilers.
and I wanted to talk to one of the guys because he said something about getting sponsors, and I was like, okay, this could apply to getting sponsors for fundraising too. Let me go talk to him specifically about that. And when I went to go talk to him, he was talking to somebody else. But this other guy who I'd listened to talk earlier walked past me, kind of was like, "Oh, excuse me." I was like, and that was like he initiated it, and by him initiating that, I was like, "Oh, hey, good talk earlier." And he's like, "Oh, thanks." And then we kind of had a conversation, for a few minutes, and then somebody was like, "Hey, Austin," and then took him away from my attention, and I was like, "Ooh, shrink back." Um, and then earlier than that, I was on my phone because that's my other crutch, is to be like, oh, interaction, oh, crutch, oh, Travis, help save me. And there was a guy and a lady that were like, they were just kind of standing right in front of me, and they said they had like a little interaction. Oh, this one dude, he was up on stage, and she was like, hey, by the way, your fly was down the entire time. And he was like, oh no, oh no, geez. And I was right there. And so that was that was like, it was just like, oh, well, I mean, hey, it was a really good presentation, but that's probably why everybody stayed so long. Uh, and then we laughed, and we had like a really quick, like I was on for like 10, 15 seconds, and then I just like pulled back into the shell. So
Yeah,
I can
I think that's another thing that you probably need to, work on a little bit is not because it's broken, but because is feeling like you have to be on sort of for all of those things when you being you is good enough for those conversations. You don't have to
yeah,
be more than what you are. Anyway, we're
thanks,
gonna go
man.
make out now. Uh, but yeah, well, hopefully you had fun as much as you could at Podfest. What did you think of the venue? What did you think of the event overall? Like,
It-
for other podcasters or people that might see or hear this, is it the sort of event that they should try to check out?
yeah, check out at Podfest. I I'll admit, when I first got there, I walked the convention floor. I stopped at the Blueberry booth. Blueberry, who hosts us, not a sponsor, and they will never sponsor us because
Nope.
we don't get enough downloads. But I did stop by, and I think I talked to Todd Cochran's daughter, and I was like, "Hey, I use Blueberry, so I just want one of these stickers." And she's like, "Okay, that's fine." And I grabbed a couple of stickers for us. Um, Anybody like Libsyn was there, a couple other podcast hosts. Actually, Focusrite was there. They had a bunch of 2i2s, and
Nice.
but like the floor itself was more of a people who don't podcast, and like, hey, come join us, and if you're going to start a podcast, come here. And so that part wasn't as interesting to me because I talked to the Libsyn rep for half a second. He's like, oh, do you have a podcast? And my badge says creator on there. So
Hmm.
I'm like, yeah, I podcast. He's like, oh, cool. Who you use? I'm like, I use those Blueberry guys over there. Like, old Blueberry, good old Blueberry. He's like, ah, yeah, good old Blueberry.
Were you
Uh,
like, we used you guys for a few minutes and then our numbers got all messed up and then we switched to Blueberry?
I didn't,
You
I
didn't
didn't
you didn't integrate with our WordPress the way that we wanted to, so we ditched you.
yeah, I didn't tell him that. Libsyn is pretty good, but but then I walked away. I think that's good for people who are looking into it. There's a lot of the business of podcasting, monetization, and there's a whole lot of entrepreneurship type speakers there, which is, it could be good. Our shows aren't very entrepreneurial focused, and we can make money off this. You and I could make money off these shows, but the things that people are making money off are much more niche, or tied to like investments, or
Yeah.
or this, that, or the other. But it's good to hear that some of the success stories that are out there is great. Overall, I think the biggest benefit of Podfest, and mostly because it was free for me, was the networking opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though I didn't talk to more than two people there, on LinkedIn, I did get, I've been connecting with folks who are there, um, and they've been connecting with me, and I followed up with them, because one thing I do is, maybe I'm not great in person at first, but I do remember a lot of the stuff that they talked about, and so then I reach out with like, "Hey, I really liked what you said about this," and tie it into what
And then you
what I
hook them. You hook them
said.
because you tell them how much you appreciate them and you like them, and then they're in like a fish on a hook.
So
Well, yeah.
that's the benefit of it. And other people I've talked to, another woman that I work with, who went, that was the same thing. Like, she just got a bunch of networking bits out of it. So that's what I'd say. Recommend it if you're trying to get into the podcast business, podcast business, or you just want to network with some folks.
And with that in mind,
No idea.
I believe this concludes yet another episode of Apathetic Enthusiasm. Hopefully you enjoyed listening to it, hanging out with us for about an hour or so. We enjoy doing this, so thank you so much for listening. Thank you for subscribing wherever you subscribe to your podcast. And if you have not yet gotten a chance to rate and review this podcast, please take a few minutes. Let us know what you like, what you don't like over on Apple Podcasts. Throw a few stars our way. Lets us know that you guys are listening and supporting the show. And it is now time for us to head over to the after show that we do on Twitch and YouTube. It's our post show hangout with all the good folks that are hanging out watching us live on those platforms. If you want to catch that after show, you can go subscribe over on YouTube or follow us over on Twitch and watch those live, or all of those are at the tail end of the podcast over on YouTube. So with that, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for watching. And until next time, I'm Travis.
And I am Brandon.
Bye.
All right.
And now it is time to follow up with the live listeners. Thank you so much to everybody who is hanging out over on Twitch and YouTube. We saw Alex, of course. Have a good day, face. Mattio, you're hanging out. I think I also saw Sire Dark, Justin, J1, Alex. Who else did we see? Rachel. Rachel, thanks for hanging out.
Here for a little bit.
So a few questions.
Fundraising.
What did you say? Hydrate?
Fundraising.
Yeah. Some of you asked some questions during the episode. We didn't really get to those. One of those was about the beer you were drinking. Is that a flat tire?
I've told you that flat tire story. Yes, it is a fat tire. It is a Belgian white.
I'm
not a huge like Hefeweizen / Belgian style wheat. I'm not a huge.
It's not my jam. It's not my jam.
No. But this is okay. Plus, I had an IPA a minute ago. So
all right, mixing it up, keeping it fresh. Somebody said the real money's in. Oh, Alex, you said the real money's in ASMR. Can't argue with that, and that's why now we are proud to present Apathetic Enthusiasm does ASMR.
Here we go.
Give us all your bits.
Give us your bits now.
I gotta change my.
Hey Travis, I want you to know that in some ways you are. I hate that. I hate it.
Oh, that's the new post show. Switch our channels. We're going to ASMR.
The A stands for Apathetic Enthusiasm.
Good stuff.
What would Nerd Shit Whisper Edition like entail?
Hey guys. Hey. Roll for initiative. Did you hear that?
The Jackalware attacks with his deadly fangs.
Make a dexterity saving throw.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're done. We're done.
Every time I've clicked the ASMR tab on Twitch, I'm like, nope, not for me. Nope. Moving away. Moving away.
What other? Oh yeah, hey, congratulations on the banjo. Oh,
Ding, 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 ding.
the fam got a banjo. Good on you. Good on you. Good on you. Hey, Justin Mendoza. We watched you play some PUBG the other day, and I said hi, and you didn't say hi back. You know, I missed that game, but I also have a Mac, so I can never play it again.
Yeah, I have not played PUBG since your computer died.
Oh yeah,
So that. Those are the facts.
those are the facts, Jack.
What's the date
Um,
today? I gotta
oh,
render this.
so our Philip Marks ain't here right now, which is kind of weird. But Matt, you're gonna get a kick out of this. You're not Matt, Travis. You're
I'm Travis.
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 I saw Philip Marks 87 tell a joke on his Twitter today about a duck wanting some grapes. Do you know this joke, Travis? Of course you know this joke.
It sounds really familiar.
Yeah. All right, Philip Marks, Matt. Okay, here it is. Here it is. Here's the joke. I'm gonna tell, and he did a variation. He did a little bit of variation. I'm gonna incorporate some of his variations. Um, and here's the joke. A duck walks into a bar, and he goes up to the bartender. He just kind of like waddles in, like his little feet like flapping on the bar floor. He hops off. He like kind of like parkours on top of a bar stool, and he looks at the bartender. He's like, "Hey, give me some grapes." and the bartender's like, what the hell? What the hell, duck? Get out of it. We don't serve ducks here. Get out of here." And the duck kind of hops off and waddles out the door. About like 20 minutes. About 20 minutes later, the same duck walks back into that bar and waddles up and jumps up on the bar stool. And the bartender's like, "What the like, hey, like, what do you want, duck? Got any grapes?" The bartender's like, "No, we don't have any grapes." And we're like, "No, you're a duck. I do not serve ducks here. Get out." And he just like he gets a broom from behind the bar and he like shoos him off. And the duck waddles off. Comes back in like an hour later. Well, same bar stool. "Hey, bartender, got any grapes?" And the bartender's like, "Look, duck, this is the last time I'm going to tell you we do not serve ducks here, and I don't want to see you ever again. Next time you come in here, I'm gonna take a hammer. I'm gonna whack that bill right off your face. You're gonna be dead, and I'm not gonna be charged with murder because you're just a fucking duck, you little piece of duck shit." And the duck is like, he jumps off the bar and he leaves. About an hour later, in comes the duck, and he walks up slowly, kind of like looking around the corner. Walks up to the bar, pissed off. He's like, um, "Oh, well, that's actually no, I don't."
Everybody, thank you for that joke before.
He says grapes instead of grapes. That's the Philip Marks version.
Yeah.
Matt, let me tell you another joke that Matt told me. So have you ever in like 1847, this guy, he goes into a restaurant, and he I'm messing up the joke already. He goes in a restaurant, and he's like, "I want just your nicest steak." And so the restaurateur, the waiter, brings him out a steak, and the guy's like, "The steak tastes good, but it needs something on it. It needs some extra flavoring to it." And the waiter is like, "Okay," and he goes off, and he's like, I don't have anything to add. Like I put salt and I put pepper on there. Like I don't know what to." So then he just like he starts going in and he's like mixing a bunch of different things together, and it's like a cauldron. And he bubbles it up and around in front of himself, and then he pours it on a steak, and he cuts into a steak, and he's like, takes a bite, chews. He's like, "Oh, what's this here sauce? What's this here sauce?" I don't know. I fucked it up. And that's the story of Worcestershire sauce.
That's man. Give me some
I felt-
guapes.
Give me some
I'd rather
glaze.
have guapes than that one. What else is going on? I don't. What's this here sauce? You
Butchered
guys
it.
hyped for COVID-19?
I am. Hey, who's hyped for the new Batman? Who's hyped for the new Batman? I am. I am hyped as all get out. Get out. All of it.
Also, also a good movie.
That's right. That's right.
Um,
Oh, have you seen the Candyman preview, Travis?
No, I haven't.
Oh, yeah, you don't. You don't know horror guy.
We don't run in the same circles, Brandon. Yeah, I everything that I've seen and or heard about the new Batman has me excited for the film.
Yeah, yeah. It's gonna be good. My wonder is if they're going to reference the Joker at all, or I mean, I feel like they have to introduce him at some point in time, which only intrigues me more that they will somehow incorporate him in, and they're keeping it so hush hush. I'm hoping that because like at the end of Batman Begins, I saw a clip of that again recently where although Christian Bale's Batman voice still is so cringy, the idea
Right here.
that they introduced the Joker without showing his face at all, and they just showed that Joker card was just it's such a hype moment. They got
Yeah.
I cannot wait for the sequel when that happens. Um, uh, okay. What do we see? What do we see? A couple jokes, or not jokes. Matt says, "How long has Brandon been butchering jokes now?" Yeah, I don't
For
know if I butchered that joke. I got a good laugh out of it.
I think you enjoy them more if you butcher them, but
That's true.
the more work the listener has to go through to get to the punchline, I think the more you like the joke.
That's true. It's that anti-humor part of me
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that okay.
Call back to medical, please.
People want to shit talk sparkly vampire dude is going to be in it, but he's actually been good in a bunch of other stuff. Completely true. Homar, or my friend Omar, who I don't think he's in the stream anymore, but when he was first announced as Batman, he wasn't super thrilled by it, and I was like, Robert Pattinson is way more than just the Twilight guy.
Yeah.
The Lighthouse is a great movie. Doing Cronenberg's tour of LA or whatever that movie is. He's just been in a bunch of stuff that show his dynamic range, and I think he is a good actor. And even he can tell you. I mean, I think Pattinson will be the first to tell you that he hated being typecast by Twilight.
Yeah. And this is a good opportunity for him to, you know, be known much more widely for something other than Twilight. So
Yeah, we don't know yet. Although I know that it's roughly based off of The Long Halloween or Batman Year Two. Being is what I'm hearing. If you're a comic fan, then you know what I'm talking about. If you're not, those are comics. Why do they keep remaking Batman? Back to Alex's question. Um, I don't know why they do, but I just want them to get it right. I did like Affleck's version of Batman for a little bit. Um, I wish they had given him his own movie, maybe to explore something. But what I didn't ever get on board with, and I know this is naive of me, and I think I think Snyder would agree with the sentiment that Batman doesn't kill. Like that it's like an inherent quality in that character to do
yeah,
everything
it's
or not.
it's one of the cornerstones of the Batman lore. typically.
Yeah, and for them to be like, no, well, come on, don't be naive about that. Like, of course he would end up having to kill people. He's dark and grisly now. Y- those are the parts that I didn't like with the Batfleck.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I wanted so much to get like a good like Dark Knight sort of like the new Batman vs Superman like kind of the what's his name? Sin City guy.
Batman.
No, Sin City Comics.
Oh, DC.
Help me out, chat. Uh,
Sin
I
City Comics.
I have him over here.
Frank Miller. There you go.
I'm rolling back.
I didn't know. I was like, Sin City Comics. Elijah Wood?
Uh,
No, Clive Owen.
yeah, Jessica Alba.
Bruce Will.
But no, that's sort of Frank Miller kind of like real. I don't know. I was hoping for that out of the Ben Affleck version, and they kind of they got halfway there maybe, but I don't know. A standalone Bat flick would have.
And a couple of trailers when they're in the Batcave, and it's showing the Jason Todd Robin uniform, and it's covered in the just the Joker
Mm-hmm.
uh, graffiti. I was like, that is so cool. Like, okay, yeah, like this is a dark grizzled Batman. Um, but then there's a kind of dissonant juxtaposition with the Jared Leto, where the Jared Leto Joker doesn't seem like the same Joker that would do that type of thing to the Robin outfit,
Right.
and
Yeah.
that I would have been okay with Jared Leto if he was Jason Todd,
Yeah.
because then it would mean that there's actually a cool Joker out and about.
Out somewhere. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Batman. They're gonna keep making him forever because Batman Forever, right? And yeah, I don't know. He's the world's greatest detective. They,
Is Matt here saying they need to remake Batman Forever, like they always need to remake Batman, or they need to remake specifically the hit movie Batman Forever with Jim Carrey and
specifically that one. They need to remake it
hey,
and then immediately throw it in the trash. Is what
I
what
did
he thinks.
I did not like that movie when it came out, but let me tell you, I actually do like that movie nowadays. It's I mean it's not good. Don't get me wrong,
No.
but
It's so weird to think
Rhythm,
about all.
Rhythm Pat, who's afraid of the big black bat? Jim Carrey does that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, so many iterations of Batman. It's weird to think about all the different styles we've seen. Yeah.
Harry Styles.
Harry Styles. The thing that
George
we did not discuss it in the actual show. It was a talking point in the back of my mind, and that is the big mouse has purchased Fox, which has resulted in us getting a unique animated short prior to Onward. If you go see it in theaters, they showed a Simpsons cartoon prior to the start of Onward. We talked a little bit for a second in chat, but what were your thoughts on that Simpsons short?
I
Okay,
uh,
while you're
mixed
thinking about that,
mixed thoughts.
how often do you watch the Simpsons these days?
Not extremely often.
When was the last time you
Um,
watched The Simpsons with any sort of consistency?
oh, well, there you go. That's a complete. The last time I consistently watched The Simpsons was when I went to Universal Studios and I was at the Duff, the Duff bar,
Oh yeah.
and it's just the clips are playing on repeat, like throughout Simpsons Land, clips are playing on repeat, and
Yeah.
they just crack me up. That's the last time I watched it consistently.
To answer your question, yes, Sire Dark, it is the Maggie one. Uh, Quick synopsis: Maggie is dropped off at a playground. She finds a love interest, and then spends the rest of the time trying to get back to that little baby that she is pining for. I thought as a standalone clip, it's cute. Yeah, it was fine. It was interesting because I think there was zero voice acting in it.
Yeah.
It was a silent film more or less, and it was safe in terms of The Simpsons, where they could do certain jokes, and Sheena busted out laughing right away at the start when it was showing the titles of all the books that the moms were reading at the playground.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Like you're doing everything wrong, and how dare you not breastfeed? I think was another one.
Yeah.
So those are pretty hilarious. But yeah, it was one of those things where it was a way of like almost like reintroducing The Simpsons to people under a new brand, while not like running any risks if people bring their 3-year-olds to see this movie or whatever. They don't want to offend any parents. They're like, I don't want my kids to watch The Simpsons.
Yeah. That's how it felt to me was Disney being like, we own Fox now. Let's incorporate these guys, those guys, to things. Let's give them a short.
Yeah.
Or like it felt it it felt Simpsons ish when it comes to Maggie, um, but the other Simpsons aren't really involved so whatsoever.
Yeah.
I liked it because I was like, oh cool. But the last time I'll tell you the last time I felt anything for the Simpsons. I watch every year for Treehouse of Horror, and that's just the staple. But the last time I felt anything for The Simpsons was when I was in Colorado and the Simpsons movie came out, and I got like Krusty O's from 7-Eleven and the Squishies and a bunch of other like collectible stuff. And I saw the movie probably, I think, 3 times in theater because I was just like, to me, that was the 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 pinnacle of it, and I was so excited that it came out. I saw it the first time, I loved it, and then I saw it. I think I saw it again, and then my family came out. My parents came out, and then for my birthday, I'm like, I want to see it again. And they're like, but you've seen it twice already. I'm like, yeah, I want to see it again. 'Cause it was like classic Simpsons stuff in that movie that it just appealed to me. And I do watch Simpsons every once in a while, but it just doesn't have the same Conan O'Brien season. Yeah, I'm gonna be one of those hipsters and say like seasons 2 through 8 or 9 were the best, and it's just undeniable. It's factual. It's based in fact.
Okay, so based on your facts, do you think they should keep turning out Simpsons episodes? Hey, D
Uh,
Squeeze, thanks for hosting the stream.
hey, I oh, I think they. I'm torn because realistically I think they should stop making new episodes of The Simpsons. But there's also the other part of me that says I'm a fan of The Simpsons and I want them to go forever. Just say they
Yeah,
did.
yeah,
But since I don't watch it, like, what does that really matter to me?
yeah.
Um, yeah, like logistically, they should find a good way to end the series. I think the movie, just like season 5 of Supernatural, was a good time to end the series.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, ooh,
T Squeeze says wise parents wouldn't let her watch The Simpsons when she was a girl. Uh, that was a big thing back in the day. Was
yeah,
like in the Simpsons came out in '89, and for George Bush was in office, and that was a big thing with like Barbara Bush saying that The Simpsons were corroding the youth of America. And I remember at the time,
yeah. But look at
I
us now. We're doing great.
Look at us now. At the time, I loved The Simpsons. It was like, it was adult oriented kind of, but it was still teaching family values. I didn't know this as a kid. I'm a dumb kid. It's just a cartoon. But my grandma was anti Simpsons, and she was very like, "You shouldn't watch that. That's dumb. That's dumb crap. You shouldn't watch that dumb crap." Which is silly because she watched the Flintstones. I mean, come on, grandma.
Oh, come on. The Flintstones.
Flintstones.
Jeez.
But hmm,
Hmm. Hmm.
hmm,
Yeah.
eh.
Well, I haven't started my binge watch of Simpsons on Disney Plus. Not about to start necessarily either, but
Just do Treehouse Horror every Halloween, and you'd be good.
just watch each one of those. All right. Well, anybody got any other thoughts or questions for us? Otherwise, we can wrap this party up. What are
Matt,
schmeckles?
watch Rick and Morty.
Watch
Why
Rick
don't
and
you just
Morty.
watch the rest of Rick and Morty, man? Come on. You know this is a big part of my life. If you're really my best friend, you would watch it all.
I've watched all of it, Matt.
uh, Matt's gonna come and murder you.
One day that door is gonna open, and it's just gonna be Matt. Like,
This is a schmeckle, motherfucker.
he's like, "You asked for it."
Oh yeah, that's right.
You asked for it. Here it is.
It's a knife in your throat.
We love you, Matt.
All right.
What's
Well,
a Rick and Morty? What's a Rick and Morty? I want to do something. I want to do something tonight.
Okay.
When we sign off, I want to try and raid. I want to try and raid another stream.
Okay, yeah.
But I need some suggestions of somebody that's streaming right now who we could raid. So, let me know who you guys are watching. Let me know who you guys like. Let us know a channel that you guys think we should raid to do our send off.
Yeah, to do our send off. How do we? I need to let me pull. I'm gonna pull up Twitch. If you guys can come up with something before we do, all the happier.
We could do an ASMR one.
Oh my gosh! Oh, let's send the Hyper RPG.
What is raiding another stream? That means we're gonna send all of our viewers, both of you, into another stream, and kind of preview those folks. Yeah, we're gonna Leroy Jenkins our way over there, and keep the party going, supporting another creator here for a little bit.
Yeah. Let's see.
Night Attack show, but they go live on Tuesdays. Well, that's not gonna help us right now.
There's one that says Simon Says and Ban Appeal, and it's some chick who's exercising but also showing her boobs.
Let's maybe not.
She probably needs the views. She probably needs
them.
Look, no shame. If I had boobs, I would totally use.
Yeah.
Oh.
Let's see if there's any Dungeons and Dragons streams going on.
Technically, I do. You wanna see?
I don't know. Nobody wants to see that, Brandon.
Okay. All right.
Should we watch? Should we go check out this dude that's painting a mini over in the D&D area?
What? No. Let's see. Oh, there. Oh, let's get out of here. What streams are gonna browse categories? I got Grand Theft Auto, Dota, just chatting. We don't want to do just chatting. They do have ASMR.
Hey, let's see if there's a Jackbox stream on right now.
Oh, there most certainly are Jackbox streams. We're gonna need them for when we do.
If you guys are not familiar with the Jackbox party packs, Brandon and I are gonna have to pick some of these up here pretty soon, and play along with you guys. What's the one that we were watching the other night? Let's see.
Jackbox party pack.
Here we go. Tipsy Tune is playing Jackbox Party Pack 6.
Okay. All right.
Shall we?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Do we go along with it? I don't know. I've never done this before.
I don't know. We're gonna figure this out. So we're gonna go raid this guy's stream and see how it goes. Let me see if I can figure out how to do it. So this is us signing off until
Yeah.
Pick a live channel. PS Tipsy Tune. Okay, so we're gonna go hit this guy's stream. Show him some love when we get over there. Say hi. Everybody. Say that you love podcasts, and but be nice.
Be nice.
And then we will see you guys no later than next week. Hopefully we can get a game stream going on before then. But until next time, see you guys later. And now let's go raid this dude who's doing.
Here it is. It's a podcast from Apathetic Enthusiasm.
He's playing Jackbox. All right, and he's drinking. He's made a drinking game out of it. So
here we go.
let's head over there now. Ready, set, here we go.
Okay.
Oh, you guys ready? You guys ready to raid?
Okay.
Ready to raid in 3, 2, 1. Boom.
Oh, look at that. What's he saying?
No. We only had 3 people. 3 people to raid with.
Complected. Half Chinese. I don't believes in each other. I believe in you, Princess. I believe in you too. Oh my goodness.